Welcome to the video on using the Widowmaker, the most feared and powerful etching press at all of the University of Regina. So here's a quick look at the Widowmaker. It's a fairly simple looking device, but it's very heavy duty. It's got an inch thick steel bed, it's got a big roller, and it has a motor. It also has a few extra on-off switches and safety features we're going to talk a little bit about. So, how do you get started using this machine? Well, the good news is you don't have to set the pressure. The bad news is you have to watch your fingers at all times when using this device. So to get started, the press should have the bed centered, the blankets should be above the cylinder, and you have to pull the press bed out. It's heavy. You're going to have to pull. You may even need help from a friend. Then you take the blankets and you ensure that they're in the correct order, the thinnest blanket, the thickest blanket, and then the most typically beat up blanket. As normal, they should be upside down when stored over the press. So we're going to lay them down on the press bed and look for that center line that is marked on the bed, and we're going to do the same with the blankets. The blankets all have a center line. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we want it pretty close to center. We also want to be sure that the blankets are not hanging off even a little bit at either end or at either side. So once we're ready to engage the blankets, we're going to look to the side of the press and push the start button. The start button simply allows electricity to get to this button, which is the forward or reverse switch. So pushing the switch in the direction we want the press bed to go, the roller begins to roll. And now, just off of screen, I used my hip to help the press bed get under the roller. Here's another quick look at it as well. So my fingers are on top of the blankets, and I used my hip or my body weight to get it started. You can smooth out the blankets, you can tug at them, but you have to be sure that your fingers are never along the side of this press. So once the blankets are engaged, now I can use that directional switch and back it up. Here's the neutral position to stop it, so that I can then pull the blankets up over the cylinder and set up my template and get ready to print. And of course, once the press bed is in place, you can print like any other etching press. Here's a closer look at the directional switch. The middle means stop or neutral, and whichever direction the switch is pointing, that's the direction that the bed will ultimately be going. There's the start button, and here's the big stop button. Anytime you're using this device and you're playing with setting the blankets up, or you want to get your fingers quite close to the cylinder, that's when you want to use that stop button. It's also huge so that your body or foot could kick against it if something got caught. But the key here is to ensure that you always know where your body is when you're using this press. So let's just watch it move again. The press bed is moving across, and I'm standing beside the controls, waiting to flip that switch to stop it in the position I want to stop it at. I can also, as an extra safety measure, hit that stop button. And of course, print from this side. Print back and forth as I wish. Now, when I want to take the blankets out of the press, when I'm finished using it for the day, it's as simple as rolling it out in the direction that we first started. So I push the start button and the directional lever, and I will roll it until the roller comes right off the blankets. There may be a small thud, but it'll come right off of the blankets. I can then smooth them out. I can help the press bed out a little further by pushing the button if it needs to go a little further. I can extricate the blankets. I can fold them just for a moment here, and I'm going to put the press bed back into the middle. I can use the power, but I can also give it a little push to help it. Once the press bed is more or less centered, it doesn't have to be perfect, but once it's close, I can stop. I can push the big stop button, and then I can flip the blankets over top of the cylinder to store them for next time. And when you're done, this is what your press is going to look like.